both of us have traveled a uh, long way, and our learning have started with our activism with the academics coexisting. Both went together. So first we started with the passion, came with the activism, and then the academics. So what I realized is always I believed that something, you have a knowledge, you have a finding, like for example the Marx Capital Volume One, or what we say, or all the CPM left movement, taking some of the intellectuals' writings and says that, oh, this is the knowledge, and this is the, and it did change a lot of society. So therefore you get an impression, one gets an impression that some knowledge you produce, the society accepts it, and then it goes forward. So knowledge production is what is needed, we believed. So therefore in India we always relied on the past knowledges, like Ambedkar's knowledge and Periyar's knowledge at least. So then we all have been following such knowledge, and then in our own understandings, and in our own understanding we were following such knowledges. But what I realized, something very crucial is, it is not that there's knowledge. See, selection of knowledge is also not very democratic. Like for example, choosing, let it be big shots like Ambedkar and Periyar, uh, because I find what I find that in the ground there is a serious problem. In the ground there is a vibrant knowledges are there. Let it be a Kailanji issue, let it be Chundur issue, let it be so many issues, atrocity issues. What is the lesson we learned from these atrocities? These atrocities we learned that the knowledge, I mean to say, connecting to the knowledge, these atrocities we learned that the atrocities, all the atrocities across India, from the north to the south, let it be from the Kanyakumari, from the south to the north, we find there is a connection, though there is a language difference, cultural difference, terrain difference, habitat difference, but still we find something very common to all of this is the religion. But in Chunduru issue, we don't find questioning the religion. And Ambedkar, for example, the knowledge which Ambedkar we uphold, he has been talking about religion as a central to caste atrocities and caste discrimination. Even Periyar, when he speaks about the self-respect, we find that. But this kind of a knowledge, they do not take it. People do not take. So what was surprising me is when I was finding this and trying to tell the masses through news, through articles, and approaching different intellectuals and saying that there is a serious problem in our approach, present approach. I find very few, like those people who are behind the bars right now. Hani, I would say only Hani, apart from our friends like you, Sharif, and others. But faculties, I find it very hostile. Nobody was ready to take the knowledge, new knowledge, producing new knowledge. No, they are not interested. So that is the lesson I learned. So therefore, I found that okay, knowledge in India, knowledge selection of knowledge is also always the priorities. It is not about the what knowledge you produce, but who produces the knowledge. I am coming from a Chakler community, from a scavenging community. My knowledge, nobody wants to take that knowledge because the Dalit movement or Dalit intellectuals dominate the Dalit studies, and such kind of Dalit studies, atmosphere, a scavenging background person coming. I mean, scavenging means that is a cultural. I'm naming it not to romanticize, but naming it as a people to understand that I come from one particular caste. That caste is not there. So therefore, the production of knowledge is also. I find there is always you need something else to go forward, to take it forward. So the community, so that goes. So that is one. So therefore, I believe, okay, why don't I get into the ground and my knowledge, whatever I produce, let it go to the masses. So that's why Dalit Camera, I resigned from the faculty job and I went to this ground. And that is the shocking revelation I had. I found that the concept of self-respect itself is not with the masses. The in Indian masses, I am period. I could say nobody. There is no common public. The common public, let it be even the academicians. There is no concept of self-respect. There is no concept or experience of self-respect and self-respect and equality, social justice, that is not there. So therefore, I would say, argue. I've been arguing this continuously, that repeatedly, that my experience on the ground, working with the sanitation workers, forming a national self-respect trade union. Interestingly, when I started this trade union, self-respect trade union, it was the sanitation, not the sanitation, but the academicians and the intellectuals were the people were were creating hurdles. Hurdle, I'm not saying literal hurdle, but intellectually discouraging me a lot, saying that there is no self-respect in sanitation work. So that shocked me. So therefore, the fight here is not about the ground. Ground, there is no self-respect because the academicians here, knowledge protection is not something productive. So the academic space, this intellectual space in India is dominant. Let it be like the Brahmin and the Shudra, what Gopal Guru say. I would say, including Gopal Guru's knowledge and other intellectuals' knowledge, is also the same kind of a Brahminical intellectual idea there is. So that is the something. It was revealing for me because that is one. Second thing is, I'm even now I'm saying I would work as a sanitation worker. Earlier, I used to hesitate to say without argument, but now I can say with full confidence that I am ready to work as a sanitation worker. I am ready to work as a scavenger. I'm ready to work. What is very important, I'm trying to say is, many people say that no, chi, you can't work. See, the word chi, let it be in English or in any chi, don't work this work. That is a problem way of understanding, because there is no concept of self-respect for the work, because there they do not respect work, labor. When you only respect the labor, you do have value for the labor. So sanitation work in India does not have value at all, because there is no value for the labor. The Indian society does not considers that as a valuable labor. It considers as a use and throw. I'm not able to get a proper word to say, but I would say that just like use it and throw it. There's no concept of value. For example, a Brahmin labor or a Kshatriya labor or a Vaishya labor, that is considered, even the agricultural labor, all the labors are considered highly respected. But in India, scavenging as sanitation work or low class work is not considered as a labor, proper labor. That is a serious problem I found. So this impact was created and is reproduced by the academicians and the intellectuals and the political parties working on the Dalit front. I think they are the people who are dragging the Dalit movement, the Dalit movement behind. For an example, let it be like Ambedkar or caste atrocities, as I was saying, everything for everything. There is this religion is a central to it, but nobody talks about the religion right now. They all are comfortably sitting and discuss a progressive. This is an approach. How I would say, there's another experience I would say it's kind of a replicating the left movement. Though the Dalit movement has been discussing and saying that they are against the left movement, but actually, my understanding, even if people look into this way, the Dalit movement's approach to anti-caste is not ideological fight. It is a populistic left movement's replication. For an example, the protest or garage, barging, protest basically, because they believe that state can respond. But this is not nothing to do with the state, because state is part of it, but the society itself is part of it, where we are also part of it. But the left, what the left does is, left's approach to question is that they are away from that. So how does the left approach their ideology? Left would say that no, I am away from it. It is the state's problem. So let us demolish the state. Some kind of that kind of an argument they keep. Dalits do the same thing. They say that, okay, I am Dalit, so I am away from that anti-caste. I am away from the casteism. Therefore, now we have to demolish the caste, and then we'll protest. The no state will go and, plead the state. They won't plead. Left may not plead, but here they will plead the state. So therefore, they would plead in a way to say you are wrong. They don't plead that please help me. No, they don't say no, no, you did wrong because I'm an innocent. I'm an innocent. You have been the oppressor. So the dominant language here changes from a social aspect into pointing out on somebody else. So I think that is a serious problem. Anti-caste movement in India is a very casteist movement. Let it be very, very point blank. I would say it's a very casteist movement. Let it be Parya movement, Mala movement in the north, or a Chaklier movement. Chaklier movement, no, I would say. Even Madhya movement, I wouldn't. I would say no. They're trying to implicate Malas, but I don't think Madhyas could ever succeed, because if Madhyas could succeed, then there won't be Shubhatra, there won't be Krupakar Madhya. Because I would say that when Kalekuri Prasad died, when there was a memorial meeting, it was this these Madhyas who stood. And then there are R.S. Praveen Kumar, you can say, without looking into caste, and he has been working. So, and here in Tamil Nadu, there is no Chaklier movement. For an example, Chaklier movement has been carrying Periyar on their shoulders. And in the south, they are still part of Vidudali Srutigal. They don't look into the parties. The scavenging community does not look into the caste and their work, including Dalit Camera. Like there is no caste affiliation, because the complication, it's a complex issue when they come to scavenging. Even scavengers community could not replicate what pariahs do. They mobilize their own community. They have their own surroundings. Everything they have their own. The scavengers could not do it, because one thing is they could not own the job, because the society says that job is a very bad thing. But here the Paraya community would say that no, Paraya is a music instrument, we would own it. But here they do not know, and there is no intellectual produced, because Paraya community also discriminates. Since caste is an hierarchy, they argue Paraya community is also a Brahmin in a sense when a Chaklier sees it. So therefore, what I find it very, very interesting is that Indian society, in India, the concept of self-respect is nowhere there. There is no concept of equality. We need to have a national movement of self-respect. We need to have a national movement of equality. But I think the bits and pieces what we have in India right now is not even a self-respect or a equality. We can't even claim that. Let it be Chunduru. Chunduru was not. It was a movement for justice. It was not a movement for equality. You can argue that yeah, there was a discussion happening, but I find that anti-caste movement has to rethink. I don't think they are ready to rethink. So that is the part I learned. It's a very sad truth. And one last thing is, when I say they don't respect labor, it also impacts. It does not stop there. When I say that they do not respect labor in India, when I say Brahmins are respected, no, this kind of an understanding that not respecting partially choosing particular labor to respect choose has an implication on the larger level. That is the reason that India does not respect intellectuals. For an example, I did my postdoctorate, and I remember my friend Walid from Yemen used to say, in his country, if somebody does a PhD, they're called doctor, and they are highly respected. But in India, I did my postdoctorate, and I'm ready to do scavenging job, and I'm ready to do. I'm sure I will run this septic tank truck as a business model. But why I'm running is not that I had many options that I just threw and I came forward voluntarily. No, I was pushed to do this. When I applied, when I applied for this German scholarship, there was one Dalit professor wrote a letter, unnecessary, unwanted letter, stating that this person has a very active background. So such things happen, and there was no many people showing the way. So therefore, the paths are very closed. And in Indian academics is an academics with the lobbies. You have to be a mala, or you have to be a paria, or you have to be a chamcha. Like for an example, you have to be like the Indian president, Dalit president. in academics, then only the Dalit professors will respect you. So that kind of an atmosphere we are living in this. That is me running this septic tank should be. I'm proud of it, but Dalit community should be ashamed of it. Indian intellectual Dalit intellectuals should be ashamed of it, because you people, you know it. All of you Dalit intellectual know that what I went through it, and why I did not get job openings in other places. It's because of you people. So basically, I'm trying to say this is a lobby. Indian academia is a field dominated to maintain the status quo. Anybody questioning the status quo would be thrown out of it. Let it be Dalit or a non-Dalit. If a Dalit, you have to be a chamcha Dalit like the Indian president, then you can shine in the Indian academics. Otherwise, no, you can't do that. So saying that, it's a larger thing. I find that is a problem that Indian society itself does not have a concept of self-respect, and Indian labor does not have a concept of self-respect also. So therefore, it is time that we think about it. But I don't think there is anybody would even would be ready to acknowledge this, because they all of them want to maintain status quo. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't gone through many of the movements. Therefore, I would not be a right person to comment on it. But I would always evaluate what is on the ground right now of the contribution of the past. I find nil. Um, I find it's a sad truth that there is no any movement in India until now to question the anti-caste. I think Ambedkar's writings and Periyar's, sometimes Periyar's, partially Periyar's, and but completely Ambedkar's writings on caste. His life actually is the his life is not his biography. Even his short life, short span of life we put through, that is academics, is experiencing caste, goes studies, goes abroad, comes and experience the caste in as an as an Indian government teacher, and then he goes to the parliament as a member of parliament, and then he holds the highest position, and then he says that there is caste discrimination he faces. He says that there is a problem with the anti-caste caste. Then he writes annihilation of caste for the Hindus, for the Hindu Brahmins, and then he says that no, this does not change. Me being MP does not change the caste. Therefore, he comes out of it, and last he embraces. He leaves Hinduism and goes to Buddhism. He converts. Most importantly, more than the convert, he says that I was born as Hindu, I was not die as Hindu. That's the biggest lesson all Dalits should have learned. But I don't think nobody learned. That is the only movement. His life is the only exposure for us as a blueprint. But nobody wants to, because that is his life path is a very difficult path. I would say it's people need to have commitment. It's not a small commitment like you go and protest and move forward. No, a commitment to social justice is something you sacrifice yourself. I mean, what is the sacrifices? See, my father, my family, all scattered, but you have to take a risk, because you need to, if you want to live individually, happily, individually, in the sense, personally happy, live a happy family, then it is fine. But if you look for a community, then you have to leave your individualness. Think for the community. If you think for the community, then you need to sacrifice. And I don't think anybody is here to think about the community. Let it be even malas or parayas. They don't think about the community in large. They would think as a vote bank or something, but they don't think as a community helping the community. Because if they would have helped, even their community would have come forward long back, long before. For an example, let it take when the malas getting attacked, it was the mala police officers there. In it be Melavalavu case when the atrocity when the OBCs attacked the Dalits, and then later part, though the Dalit movement emerged from it, Dalit movement later compromised from it also. They sold their movement. So it is the same caste that did that. Same caste ditched it. So in the name of caste, anti-caste, they promote their own self. So individual self is something Ambedkar was always anti to it. That is why I think his family life, we don't pay much attention to his personal life. We always talk about his political life, because political life is he moved away from the individualness and to the larger fight. But I think nobody is ready here to go move away from that comfort zone. Everyone, most 99.9%, all of them want to do philanthropy and have a name for it, and use this Dalit as a card and maintain their status quo and be in the safe zone. I think that is a problem. And for me, if somebody wants to know, asks me what he or she has to do, I would say that look at Ambedkar's life, and his life has to be studied, not from the way we studied as a college student, saying that education is important. No, education is not. That is a bullshit argument. I would say education is not the only thing important. Business is important. Labor is important. All many things are important. We have paid so much attention to education and sent one generation to government jobs. Well, what is the point? Ambedkar himself said that the bureaucracy, even they don't change. Bureaucracy chamchas. Even Kanchiram said that they are chamchas. But then what is the solution? So what I mean is, even they themselves, the government staffs themselves, could not come have a self respect. But you can do a business, you can do any business. Why there is no Dalit colonies? Why can't they sustain their own business model? Why can't they have their own barber? Why can't they have their own kirana shops? Why can't they have their own business tailor, whatsoever it is? Why can't they have their own business? They earn, they do hard labor. Then why do they have to go and give for some other Vaishya caste and make money out of their labor? So I find that is a problem because of the Dalit community. See, let me say, one PhD scholar's family does not make all PhD scholars family. If I do PhD, doesn't mean that my son and daughter will do. If I do doctor, does not mean that my son and daughter will be a doctor. If I become a businessman, on the other hand, my community itself, my entire generation is a businessman. If I'm a crowpati, what is the Alin Ambani son, or let us take all the crowpatis? What was their education? I earn. See, that is the sad part. You study so much, we spend so much on this academics, and we go and do a labor. For how much we do a labor? 60,000 rupees. And for how many years we spent a labor? 38 years we spent two part of one third of our life is two-third of our life is gone. Now we have only one third. Even earn the even we can't even earn the amount what income tax amount other businessmen are paying. That is a shame on us, because the labor, India does not respect the labor, that mental labor. They should have paid us royally. They should have paid. Like that's what abroad and all they pay Oxford. That's why all of us say that we have to go outside and work, because they don't. Here there is no respect for labor. So here, if we could generate, we could inculcate the business people within the Dalit community, they could sustain themselves and live. So I find that is also a problem with the anti-caste movement, not bringing the business importance to make paying attention to the business model, no business in per se. So I think that is also a problem. Then one is the business. Then there is this approach to anti-caste. I think these are all problems in anti-caste, and I don't think there is anybody who's talking. Like Dickey talks. Dickey talks in a language of again from a caste angle. Says that we will use our Dalit card and we will have our business, like bargaining with the government. I don't think that is what I mean. I want to be. I do not want to say get any benefit in the name of Dalit in the business. I want to do a proper business, and I need to have an atmosphere for it. And I think we have to fight for that kind of an atmosphere, not to have a reservation for the particular business. So I think that is a thing.